The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
The web at mbradio.net. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines with hosts MJ, H Train, and Terri. Each week we put today's news into perspective. Join us on Facebook, X, YouTube, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, or anywhere you get your podcast. MBR, giving veterans a voice.
Good evening. Here we are.
Hello. We're back.
Hey, Texas, how's your weather, baby?
Hot. Very hot. About 100.
I got perfect weather. I'm just going to flaunt it. I have perfect weather. You wake up, it's in the 50s. The afternoons are in the 70s with beautiful sunshine.
That is nice.
Heaven,
Definitely.
Right? West Virginia. No, Pennsylvania. So, welcome, everybody. Today is September the 15th. We don't know if H is going to show up. It's always a surprise on a Monday night if our little partner in crime there gets his ducks in order, literally. Where's his stuff? Whack, whack. Right. Anyhow, so yes, since last Monday, it has been a lot going on.
Yeah.
Have you ever just wanted to do that?
I've done that quite a bunch this week.
Right? I don't know why. I don't know. Sometimes when I take that big old deep breath, I of course am joking, and I look at my husband and go, that's better than sex. He's like, no, it's not. So I don't know. Sometimes it feels good just to get that air into whatever stale energy is like riding within. I don't know. But it's good. So weather outside has been pretty decent in the overall, right? For everybody across the states.
Yep. I think so. Starting to look a little bit like fall.
Pumpkin lattes are out at Dunkin' Donut and Starbucks. Man, it's fall, y'all. Did you get your burrs ready? All your burr months, right? You have all those set in an order, ready to go. Halloweeners, trick or I don't know. We were here, but not here last year. I go, I should get some candy. He goes, you're not gonna have any trick or treaters. I go, maybe I want to dress up. He says, I don't want to dress up and get some trick or treat candy. So that's kind of like really unusual for us, coming from where we lived. I mean, I went through at least 6 bags of candy in my neighborhood to now I could probably buy one candy bar and I'd be good. And that's just because I'm dressing up, okay? Yeah. So we're here behind the headlines. Everybody wants to know what's behind the headlines. Terri, what you got? Do you have something behind the headlines that you're kind of looking at?
Well, I wanted to just bring up something, and it's not really controversial, but it's something that when I first realized, because when I first realized it was happening, I was like, really? Like, so when they changed the grooming standards for females and then females could wear ponytails, I mean, I wore a ponytail once in a PT formation, and you would have thought the world ended. I mean, like it was because I didn't have my hair French braided, and it wasn't, and the ponytail was actually even secured, I think, but it was a ponytail, and I think it came loose when I was running or doing sit-ups or something crazy. And, you would have thought the world had just come to a complete and utter end and stop, because it's like, what are you doing with that hair? Get that hair up, Lynch, get that hair up. And I'm like, oh gosh. And so, today's standards, I mean, and I'm not advocating for or against. I just think it's so much different, the services now and what's being allowed and what was never allowed before. And then just I wouldn't say leniency, and I wouldn't say catering either, but I would say just looking at demographics, looking at whether some type of regulation is relevant still today or not. I thought that was very interesting, because there's shaving profiles now, or at least allowances too for shaving for some religions, and they can get an exemption. And like one of the guests I had on, Moses Braveheart, he was allowed to grow his hair because, that's part of his culture and part of his heritage is to grow their hair out, and getting it cut and having it short really for them is very taboo, because you only cut it if there's a death in the family. So I really think that the services today are really more concerned with the actual person than they've ever been before, because before it's like everybody will conform, period, end of story, no allowances, no exceptions. This is. And now it seems like there's some allowance for hair, some allowance for beards, hair, and then uniform standards. We all had to press, and we all had to shine boots, and now it's a wash and wear uniform. If you iron it, cool. If you don't, cool too. So I really I'm on the fence with that. This is like I come from an era when everything is starched so high and so tight that they could stand up, the clothes could stand up, and nowadays it's like you grab it out of the dryer or grab it off the drying rack, put it on, good to go. You don't have to sew, which is awesome. No sewing of patches and all that. That's pretty awesome. But I just, it's just when I was interviewed by Travis Parrington on his show on Oscar Mike, he was like, I'm sure you've seen plenty iterations of uniform changes over your time. And I'm like, yes, I sure have. And it's so much different than when I started.
Yeah. I don't know who posted them up in the forum. I saw it and I was like, oh, let's see. If you saw my basic training episode, I sat here and I just laughed. I mean, I laughed because it was about PTSD, just in basic, that can cause it and have those scars going through. And I go, and me for laughing because it was all about my hair. Why the Harlem girls and the Queens girls decided that they needed to sock boot me in the middle of the night because I was always getting the squad in trouble with my hair because I could never get it upright.
Right.
Instead of the balance of, hey, at the time they called me Lynn. They're like, Lynn, just let me show you how to do it. Why couldn't you do that instead of beating my ass? You were supposed to be on my side, right? Right. And that was hard. That was hard to and I talked about that in my earlier podcasts about military life and the basic training. I think it's like 3 or 4, but I did do, it was hard. And I had really, really long hair at the time, like almost down to my butt crack.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I had to flip my hair completely over and they shaved from my ear all the way around my head. And I have pictures of this long hair with that being shaved. Or then they had, at first I would just wear this braid and I keep it up. And then she told me that my hair stunk, the Sarge. But I look at these things going, now ain't that something? Now I can have my hair if my back actually touches the collar. But I was persecuted by my squad because I made them do calisthenics because I can't get my hair up. Yeah, they told me she yelled in my face so bad that I was an Aborigine, and that is not where we're from.
Oh my goodness. I had somebody braid my hair in basic training because I had the same problem because my hair is very thin and it falls out real easily of a braid. If you don't do the braid real tight, it'll fall out. So then I got all this wispy hair on both sides hanging out. And so I had this one girl braid my hair. She braided it so tight. My head hurt so badly. I left it in for that whole day, but my head hurt so bad because she had taken the time to do it. So I left it, but man, it hurt. And I'm like, okay, well, this definitely kept my hair up, but man, now I'm suffering because it hurt. It was so tight. It was like the tiniest little braids I've ever seen. And it hurt. It pulled every nerve ending in my head.
I tell you, going into blues, I think I used a whole thing of Aquanet getting in the blues because I couldn't even fathom in blues if my hair wasn't right. Right. The fatigues, I kind of felt like, oh, it's a Saturday morning. Let's just put the sweats on. But man, when you put the blues on, half of Aquanet on my head in the 80s.
Right.
Because, you know, you had to have the Z perm too with all that hair. And I had very, very thick hair. It was bad. It was bad.
My hair was never that thick, but so I was in basic training. And so some of the little flyaways were out. Well, it just so happens that the Kevlar that I had, the snap didn't work well. So it kept on snapping. He goes, "What are you, John Wayne?" And I'm like, "No, it won't stay fastened." So then he went and said, "Okay, I fixed this. This is my drill sergeant talking. I'll go fix this." So he takes some 100-mile-an-hour tape. He rolls it around my head several times like this. So I've got duct tape all over my head underneath my chin to hold my Kevlar on because we're doing grenades. So he's like, "Well, you don't need your Kevlar falling off in the middle of the grenade range." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, I don't." So he did this. And so when I got done, I was trying to take it off and it pulled all the hair out right here because it all stuck to the tape that he put on my hair.
No whispers.
So after that, I definitely learned to keep my hair up. I figured it out. I broke the code and I was like, my hair was never like fly away again because that hurt so darn bad. I was like, okay, I'll figure this out. Don't worry about it. I got this.
You know, I used to hear like stories from friends and family who went to the military before me and how, you know, the Sarge would, you know, whip their ass or, you know, beat them with a stick. Blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
60s, 70s military. So in the 80s, I'm like, damn. And then I don't know the year that it came out, but it was somewhere either late 70s or early 80s. You were no longer in basic training allowed to touch the enlistee, right?
Yeah.
Or the soldier. They were
like the 2000s.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, because I was mid 80s and she yanked my hair and drug me up the steps with my hair. It was always about my hair. It's so funny here. I'm on the NBR and every morning I'm like, "Joel, hair and makeup." Like, it's always about the hair.
Right.
Hair and makeup. And he's like, "Someday, MJ." Goes, someday I'll have it. I'm like, because other than that, it's just going to look like this. But I go, and I'm okay with it. And he starts laughing. But it's always about that hair. I don't know. But they ripped they threw my whole locker down. She ripped my bed apart because she found out that I was only wearing one fatigue. So I didn't have to do all the work for the other ones. So, so I would change my fatigues once a week, right? And I would rotate that one particular out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't fly. That did not fly. She shook everything out for me to have to press it and iron it and spray it until it was flat like a board. And then when you put it on, it cut your skin.
Exactly. They were so crisp. It was like you had to break the starch to get your arms and legs into the sleeves and then into the pant legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. That was my era too. Like it had to be pressed and the boots had to shine. You had the drill sergeant had to see himself in those boots. And
Saturday was laundry day and the black
boot polish.
Boot polish, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was Saturdays. That was great fun. Great fun.
Well, when I was in basic training, we had a boot room. And in the boot room is where you polished your boots. And I was telling Travis when we were talking about the differences between the culture now and the culture then, when we had to go polish boots, that's when we talked to each other. That's when we connected. That's when we saw how much alike we were. That's how we really engaged with one another, was sitting in the boot room, polishing boots, just chatting. Nowadays, there's less of that because there's not boots to polish. There's not, uniforms to iron unless you're talking about your class A's or something, your dress uniform, you may have to iron the shirt or something like that. But that's how we connected. And so that connectivity that we used to have doing those types of activities, we don't so much have anymore. So, and everything in its time and everything is different, but that was one of the ways that we became a unit or connected as a unit, was sitting in those rooms, just talking with one another.
Yeah. We didn't really have a room. We had one big ass room with like 30 beds, 15 down one side and 15. And I swear to God, and I don't care, and I said it on my basic training show too, they have to, I don't know, they dump like dust or something in the middle of the night because How can you clean that much? And there's always freaking rolls of dust. Like, I can't. I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
It's Firewatch. They're putting it all out for you.
Hey, I'm thinking that's what they're doing.
Well, when I was on Firewatch, it's like, man, if I have to be up, everyone else is going to be up too. It's like, oops, I hit that bed. Sorry. With a buffer. Oops, I hit that bed. Sorry. Like, didn't mean to.
Yeah.
If I'm up, you're up. I'm
Maybe
sorry.
they could dump in. Yeah. That was like the bathroom. It's like, why am I cleaning a bathroom when it looks clean? Like, we just did this not even 12 hours ago.
Right. Well, the thing is, you have to like just make sure you put pine salt in there so it smells like it got cleaned, and that's what you have to do. As long as it looks clean and it has pine salt smell, good to go. But if there's no pine salt smell, even if it looks clean, it is not clean.
I'll tell you, I learned
according to the drill sergeant.
I'm telling you, I learned a lot from the Queens and Harlem girls, because they're like, I don't think so. And they're like, y'all take a shower, y'all gonna pass, whatever. So they had a system that if we took a shower in the U, and the first 4 did the bottoms, the next 4. So you're taking a shower and you're also doing it. You're also cleaning your shower.
Oh, there you go.
And so that way everybody was cleaning the shower and everybody had the same amount of time in the bathroom. And it was because of these beautiful ladies who wanted to boot me.
We only had one, we called them a blanket party. We only had one blanket party in my basic training group. And it's just because one girl just could not get with the program. She could not, would not. She just refused to conform or assimilate, whatever the case may be, or fall in line with the rest of the group. So one night she got a blanket party, and after that she was definitely on the same page. She was good to go. She was like, okay, I got this. Yep, nope, we're doing whatever it is the group's wanting to do or the drill sergeant's wanting us to do. I'm all in. So I don't like that. I don't like that happened, but it certainly changed perspective for her. She was like, yep, okay, I'm getting in line. I understand it's a unit cohesion thing. Let's make it happen. So,
you know, I had Sergeant Gomez, and the lady was Sergeant Thakra, and I got in trouble. Now listen to this one. Talk about how this works. So you know how everybody's friends, but they have to put on their big show for being a sergeant.
Oh yeah.
Right. They have to do this to get your acts in order, really. Anywho, so I guess in their spare time, they talk about their beautiful little troops, right? For the next 6 to 8 weeks. And I think it was somewhere in the 4th or 5th week, because you know how every day you had to march and go to school. Right. They made you go to school and learn all these things. And then you had like these 15-minute recesses, whether people were smoking or whatever it was. You get these. I don't think I was in the 4th week, maybe somewhere in there. Sergeant Gomez, which was normally handling the guy side, and Thakra was handling this other side, decided that he was going to tell her that these other guys were fancying me. Right. She comes in. And she's like, so you want to look cute, do you?
Oh, no.
How's this my fault? I'm like, I go, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And I said, ma'am, I don't understand, ma'am. And she was like, oh, no, huh? She goes, not that you're flirting. She goes, not that we're here to do a mission and you have nothing to flaunt your sexuality, huh? I was like, okay. First of all, I'm in the chubby chicken program. I had to run with the weighted bottles from the back to the front to hold the line so everybody goes so that I could run to the front again.
Oh, no.
That was me. Because my body type, they wanted me at 125 and I was 132.
Oh, good grief.
So I was stuck in the chubby chicken program, which meant I had to do extra calisthenics. I had to drink extra waters. Whatever. I'm laughing now because I'm like, how hideous. And then you try to think, what was the lesson? Oh my gosh, we have to go. We have to get a break.
Yeah, we do need a break.
Yeah, I'll tell you the rest, but
all right. So let's play You Can't Spell Hero Without Her.
Woo, there you go,
Coffee Anderson.
Signed up to fight for freedom, What a price you had to pay. Picture in her helmet, missing family every day. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane. Some scars we'll never see. She will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. On that old dusty base with the meadows that shine, she's been to hell and back for the stars and the stripes. Your Lady Liberty, dressed like G.I. Jane, and some scars we'll never see, and she will never be the same. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. Yeah, yes. For the ones that didn't make it, we will pause and then we cry. We can still see their smile in every sunrise. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a sister and a friend. Standing tall in that uniform until the very end. When Uncle Sam called, she signed that line to serve. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her. 'Cause you can't spell hero without her.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
That is a darn cute little duck.
It
Look
is
at him.
cute. I
Now,
like
if he
him.
was just tie-dye, that would be better.
That's cute. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that was see, when you can laugh about events, whether they were traumatic, emotional, depressing at the time, angered at the time, when you know you heal, you've laughed. So keep that in mind with the energies of today. When you can heal this and know that all is in divine process, divine time, and divine grace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always had to teach us something. What was that something? You know, that's funny. But yeah, that sweating and being chubby chicken, all of a sudden I had 3 guys. I go, of course they did. They're probably lonely. That's not my
They
fault.
want out of here too.
That's not my fault. However, I got punished for that. Huh. So yeah, you look at things in a different perspective when you heal it, or when you can get over it and going, did you die, MJ? No, I didn't die. Well, then get over it. Move on.
Right.
Stop getting your feelings hurt. Talk about them, express them, make it understandable why that hurt you, and then move on. And that's kind of my law of life. Yeah.
Right. So I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
When a female drill sergeant or a male drill sergeant, which one were you more afraid of? Let me put it like that.
The female Thatcher. Sergeant
Yes.
Thatcher. Sorry. Thatcher.
And so my opinion of why that is, because same for me, because um, any female drill that came in, like she smoked us for days. And the male drills would not do that, but the female one would. So my conclusion is that, the females had to work twice as hard to be respected in that profession, in that role, and in that,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the basic training world, they had to work twice as hard. So they had to be twice as hard at it when it came to dealing with people. And what our drill always said to us, when the female one would come in, she goes, I'm a female. I know what you can take. They don't. Keep pushing. So like she was like, I already know where your line is and they don't, but I do. So we're going to push you to it. And so she was always like hard. And we were like, she was away at a school and she came in like just to meet us because we were supposed to be her class. And she smoked us for like hours when she came in. We're like, can she go back to training? Because
Oh my
we
God.
don't like her so much. But yeah, the female drills were always the one you had to worry about because the males, they're like, some of them could be kind of hard, but
You're like
not as
cat
hard,
fight, cat fight.
but not as hard as the females. Like they were hard. Like even the
Oh, they were.
males that got a female drill said the same thing. They were like, man, they're hard.
Thatcher was, I remember one of the girls like bleeding out of her uniform. She was menstruating. This lady, and you always know, and if you don't, I'm going to tell you, because in the 80s, you always had your troop, and on the other side of that wall was the guy's troop who was with you. So it was a mixed troop, right? When you would march.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she didn't know. I don't know. But we're standing there on the tarmac, in the doing calisthenics or whatever in the formations. She goes upstairs, gets this big box of tampons and throws them all over her.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible. How embarrassing is that?
And she's like, and she told her, she goes, you're like something, you're a disgrace to do this to your uniform, do something. And it was just like, I get it. You have to be hard, but is there a line? There's not a line in war. There's not a line in POWs. There's not a line. They're not going to draw these lines. Everybody saw G.I. Jane. They're not going to draw these lines.
Yeah.
And are they preparing you for, are you ready for this? And I had to twist that both ways. I had to balance the ego and judgment of what she did in humanity style, but yet I can understand in the face of war, what's your job? What are you going to do if you get captured? What is this? You think it's going to be fun and games? And I get that, especially on a women perspective. I had to get that. I had to understand that perspective of they're not going to care. But did she have to humiliate? Again, how strong are you?
Yeah.
Are you an entitled little baby, or are you going to pull up your big girl pants and move forward?
Yeah.
Right? So, but think about it. Most of you people are 18, 19 years old when you first go into those basic trainings, the majority, unless you did the 4 years first and then you came back, but I just, I know it's changed.
Yeah.
I know it's changed. And so I honor my teachings. I honor and gracefully accept them. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like the basic training AIT I went through, I learned a lot and it made me a better person overall. Did I struggle sometimes and have a hard time? Yeah, for sure I did. But it's meant to put you through the paces, and it's meant to test your mettle, and it's meant to, really see what you got deep within you to see if you have what it takes, because like you say, are you going to melt and wash out because you can't handle somebody getting in your face and saying something to you that you don't like?
Yeah.
Truly it's not meant to like, oh, it's okay, don't worry. It's not supposed to be a kinder, gentler service, either military branch you join, Air Force, Marines, Army, Navy, whatever. It's meant to test you, and it's meant to put you through your paces and see what you're made of. So, I don't anything I went through in basic training or AIT or just in the military in general, I'm better for it at the end of the day, I'd say.
Me too. Me too. I went from having a messy room as a senior in high school to don't you dare put that on my couch. Don't you dare put that on my I am not picking up that mess. I don't care who made it.
Right.
But yeah, it made me grow up quicker. It aligned, like, I agree with some people that they don't teach you finance, but neither does college and neither does high school.
Right.
So who's to teach you the finance side? Because I know there's a lot of veterans who come out who they don't know what to do. Like they're lost in the civilian world because there's nothing really uniform for them. And so that is very, it's really hard to come out of something structured, to come out to the world of chaos and not quite knowing which way. And then you're thinking, this was just not the mind challenge I just had with all my sarges, right?
Right.
This is like, what's happening? It's a surrealness, I think, is the only word I have, is surrealness.
Yeah, it's like I talked to someone today that came into my office, and they were like, "Yeah, my son just came back from the Marines. He's a little lost now. He doesn't know what to do." And I said, "Well, it's because he had structure. He had people telling him, go here, go there, do this, do that.
Right.
You can't do this, you can't do that." So he was used to that structure, and now there's no one telling him anything, and he's just like, "Well, now what do I do? I'm used to being guided here and there. I'm used to people, saying, okay, this is the mission. This is what we're doing. Get prepared."
Yeah.
And, you don't have that. So you lose your sense of community. You lose your sense of self. You lose your sense of purpose because you're like, okay, what is my purpose now? I knew what my job was and I knew where I had to be and when I had to be there.
Right.
So now he's like I don't have to get up at old dark 30 and I don't have to pull guard duty and I don't have to do CQ and I don't have to do fire watch. And so, it's like, what do I do now? I'm used to that, constant.
I feel sorry for
direction.
the people. Yeah, but I also feel sorry. Nope, cancel, clear, delete. I don't feel sorry. I feel perplexed why there are some veterans some soldiers who come out and they spoke about it. We've had some here as well on our station where they're spoken about being just devastated because what they were doing for the last 6 or 8 years, there's not a job for them in the civilian world. However, when I hear people say that and then they get very angry and upset that there's nothing here for them on the way out, and they're like, yeah, I was an F-16 mechanic. Okay, but you, as well as I, had opportunities to take college classes on the base.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that was done in the 80s, I can't imagine it's still not being done.
Yeah, I'm sure it still is. Yeah.
So everywhere I went, I went to Penn State, I went to UNLV, I went to Texas A&M, I went to Mississippi U. I said that in Miami, I went to Miami U and FIU.
Wow.
I got to take from colleges because of our base being by these places.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why, if you know that you're going in to be an F-16 mechanic, why wouldn't you take courses to further that mechanical thing on the outside if you're not willing to stay in? Or what was your career point? Like, that's where I think my philosophy maybe is just my way of thinking and it wasn't anybody else's way of thinking.
Well, I think some still don't really know what they're wanting to do. They're just serving out their contract and then they'll make a decision when they get to the end of the contract. And so then they get to the end and they're like, okay, in or out, in or out, in or out. I haven't done anything to prepare either way. So what am I going to do? And so, I think it's just like high school. You get done with high school and you're like, okay, what's next? Some have a plan. Some know exactly what's next. And some are like, I don't know what's next. Should I go to college? Should I go in the service? Should I work a while? Should I just take some time off? They're floundering with no real direction, right or left, of what to do. And so I think it's still that way for some people in the service too. They're not driven to do certain things because they don't really know what's next. They don't have a plan. And I think if they had a plan, then they might do what you did and take additional classes and say, eventually I'm not going to be in the service. I need some additional education. I need to make sure my skills translate.
Right. But even if you got a degree while you're in the military, then you became an immediate officer.
Well, I mean, you could apply for OCS. I mean, it's different in the different services on how that works. But yes, I mean, if you get a degree, you can apply for a commission, a direct commission. There's some hoops to jump through, but yes, it happens.
I mean, I can only talk about my experience, which
right.
I was supposed to go to Colorado Springs. But because of Reagan and the fallback with air traffic controllers, I was doing administration, air traffic control administration. That's what I wanted. And I was guaranteed because I got the scholarship. It ended up I had to go enlist anyway because Reagan needed air traffic controllers. So then I was on the fast forward plan. And they told me I go, but I still want to take my courses. I still want my degree so I can be admin. Like I want my GS 11 or 10 pay. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to be my GS 1 pay. And
right.
So I was guaranteed that if I finished while I was in, then I would be granted, the officer certificates and, so, I mean, because of the scholarship, I already had like 2 or 3 stripes, but what was it? A1C. So, yeah.
Well, we're due for another break. So I think we'll play Blue Mountain Tribe, Love and Understanding. Here we go.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.net.
That little duck just makes me happy.
So what did you want to talk about?
I don't know. I think I like him more than the motorcycle.
I like them both. I think they're both pretty cool. I think the animation that they're able to do with AI now is pretty amazing. And I think it's really cool that we're starting that adaptive animation for veterans that can't draw or use the computer with their hands or whatever, that they can speak what they want. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah. Technology can be so blissful, right? So
Right.
happy and so exciting. And then it could just be dread.
Right.
So tonight, I happened to catch when I was eating that President Trump announced the intention to deploy the National Guard into Memphis and possibly other cities like Chicago to address the crime. And the governor and the mayor of Tennessee was both in the office, along with Kash Patel and the DOJ and many other cabinet members. But anyway, I am for law and order, because no matter what preference of God's writings, it was always to keep order, right? To keep the rules, to keep law, because when you understand law and order, then there's balance on every angle, because the bottom line is, this is the line, don't cross it. Don't try to make up things. So I believe that if these cities and the mayors and the governors can't control them, I'm not sure why it is so deathly looked at, especially since we all know the horrendous amount of immigrants with open borders that came in to harm us as domestic terrorists. And so for that, I want to say, why aren't we thankful? Right? Why aren't we thankful for that? And I understand some of these places are really upset, and these the guy in Chicago is really upset with, I can't think of his name.
I don't know his name either. Is it the mayor or is it the governor?
I think he's the governor, Persowski, I don't know. But anyway, he's very upset. And so when I look at it, and I'm like, even in California, when he decided to get the LA riots under control just here in January and February, and Newsom made this huge debacle with it, that he doesn't want them, he didn't ask them. And then the mayor of LA, she came out and they're angry, but the citizens want it.
Yeah.
Like, how is it that the citizens' voice gets squashed by those particular state governors? I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. But that's my take. That was what I'm bringing in. I believe in it. I believe to get order in place. I believe to get crime out. Nobody deserves a shot. Nobody deserves a knife or an explosion or a raping or anything. Some of this anger needs to get under control with it. And I think if it's the people elected you, so then you do something for the people, right? And that is to save their lives. DC looks a lot better. I have a few friends from growing up that live in DC, and one is left and one is right, living in DC, and both of them agree that it's more peaceful. It is just a blessing. But now what happens when we remove them?
That's a good question.
Have we cracked down so hard to rid the problem? And do we have to take baby steps and pull away a little at a time until it's not noticeable anymore, and then people lose track and then they're focused into something else? I don't know. Cities always seem to have a big issue because they're melting pots, and they're always crime. I don't care what city you have, there's always crimes. Even in my little town of Ulster, we got crimes. Somebody stole somebody's cow the other day. Now, why would you steal the man's cow? That's not funny.
No, it's definitely not. But it could be that they needed it for food. Who knows?
Well, according
There's
to the
tough
report,
times during.
the cows are, and the guy got sick of it, and he's like, if he's going to eat and poop in my yard, I might as well keep the cow.
I see. He's teaching him a lesson.
Yeah. So I just say there's crime. There is
Cattle rustling.
Yeah. It's funny. And you're like, dude, you could get arrested for a lot better things than taking that man's cow. Just give it back.
Right.
We all know you took it. Just give the man's cow back. Anyway, it's
there's probably still some old laws on the books about cattle rustling, that could be brought up, and the outcomes of those are not good. So people need to be careful because some of these old laws resurface when something happens and somebody brings them to light. So you never know if there's still a law on the books about cattle rustling, and he probably doesn't want to know the consequences.
It was just one of those, I'm tired, I'm sick of it, I'm angry already. Like they've had enough of enough.
Right.
And small town problems.
Right.
I just play with my deer and my bald eagles. I'm good.
Well, around here, the animals just get out. So there's goats out all the time. Every now and then you'll see a horse or you'll see a cow or you'll see something out. And so it's usually not anybody stealing anything. It's them trying to get to greener pastures.
Yeah.
There's still cattle rustling laws in Texas. Yeah, see, no one wants to be cattle rustling around here. You never know.
I'd be cow tipping.
There's probably something to say about that too. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know what your take is on the National Guard. So I thought, let me find people's takes on that.
I think that if it's necessary, then it's a good thing. But I also think that, I have two schools of thought of that. So mayors and governors of the state, so mayors of the cities where they're coming into, and then the governors that are over the state, they have to lose their ego over the whole thing because it really comes down to that. If they weren't asked, they were told. That's where the push comes in, or where the pushback, like, no, I don't need it. So if there are more conversations around it on the front end where, the president or whoever is putting this out there, if they said, okay, look, we want to help you because we're hearing these things and we want to help you. We want to make you successful. We want to make your people successful. We're here to help you. If they had done more engagement on the front end, maybe then that would have gone over better instead of saying, we're coming in. So just hold on to your whatever. And we're coming in, we're going to take care of business. I mean, because that's like when it comes to, providing assistance during times of crisis. If the governor of the state doesn't ask FEMA to come in, FEMA can't come in. They can't. So even if they think they should, they can't. So it's the same kind of situation if, with the National Guard, if the governor doesn't want it, they probably shouldn't be able to push them in. They should have conversations about it. But that's what happens in, real world disasters. If the governor isn't asking, they can't just push the resources out there. They have to wait till the governor says, okay, I want you to come in.
Yeah, he spoke today. I happened just to watch that thing, and they were speaking how, because somebody was like in Chicago, and they're like, and one of the reporters goes, whoever Governor so-and-so is, he doesn't want it. He is absolutely making it very clear that he doesn't want it. He's not asking you, and he is demanding that you do not do that because he doesn't think that Chicago has a problem.
Yeah.
That's funny. I don't care who you are. That is funny. Chicago has been in issues for almost 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got some violence going on, and they could definitely use some help. And I think if you really need, like you said, ask the people, do we need help? Do you feel safe? Do you have problems in your neighborhood? And if the answer is, I don't feel safe and I have problems in my neighborhood, then maybe bringing the National Guard in for a time is the answer. And then getting, more resources around law enforcement in the communities where it's needed most. Maybe there's some grants that can be given, like safer grants that bring firefighters in, or bring police officers in to help with, so they fund them for a time with the Safer Grant. They'll fund them for a time. And then after that, then the city budgets have to pick them up. But it gives them at least 2 years, I think, on the Safer Grant for them to hire on some more people and get them trained up and ready to get out on the street. And they should do things like that, is what I think. They should offer assistance that way, maybe too. And that way, it's the community policing the community instead of bringing in the state government resources. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I get that. I get that a lot. Yeah. So there you have it. But I'm sure there's a way. If God has a will, then I'm sure God has a way. Somehow, some way, they're going to make it happen that United States is going to be back to being a country where we can walk without looking over our shoulder again. And that's what my goal, my prayers and my desires. I want to see people living the life that we got to enjoy in the 60s and 70s and some of the 80s. But 70s definitely, because they were great times where as a child, you just felt free. You didn't have to worry about being kidnapped. You didn't have to worry about being caught or raped or beaten or killed, or, it was a freer time. And I, like many, I remember those times. And for our children and our grandchildren right now, they're not seeing that. They're not, it's a different world for them. And it's, in my eyes, I want to say sad. And I know my masters are like, it's not sad. It's evolvement and change. What is changing is what's making them happy at the moment. So.
Well, that's true. But I mean, our parents pushed us out the door. I mean, you always see all the things that talk about it. Go outside and play. Don't come back in until the sun's going down and the lights are coming on. Then you can come back. But otherwise, get out and play. Go do something. Don't just sit here.
I moved all the way out to the agricultural area, so I could kind of do that with my kids. But the older that they got, I couldn't do it. I had to be 24/7 in Miami. There's no way.
It's a big city and you never know what's going on, but when we were younger, you didn't have to worry about that. But definitely now you do. And, my kids over the years, I've worried about them. I haven't just let them loose because, it's just not that kind of environment these days. It's just really not. You have to be really careful.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so that's what I brought to the table. Other than highs and praises for everybody who has made it through the angry part of grieving with so much going on with the children and with Mr. Kirk and the lady, Irina. It just doesn't seem to end. And I know that it feels that way. But then we have to flip the pattern and say, look how unhealthy the United States used to be. It's clean. We're cleaning it up. It's cleaning it up. But those who are completely radical are fighting the cleanup, which is why you'll probably hear about things more because it has to be newsworthy, right? Things have to be newsworthy to keep people in rejection. But my biggest thing for everybody, please do yourself a favor. Go enjoy God's creation. Go outside and enjoy it. Look beyond what you can see. Be aware of what you're seeing. Have the awareness. Look at it. And I think then every single day is going to be joyful. So you can always sit there. And I like the behind the headlines because it's a more introspective. It's deeper than just a few commentators' opinions. Because you can get 3 different opinions here. And you can see how well we all still get along.
Right. Yeah. We don't have to agree. We can appreciate others' perspective without, ruining the relationship. So, I mean, you can have a difference of opinion and you can have a different vantage point or viewpoint on a topic, but that doesn't mean either one of us is wrong. It just means we look at the world a little differently, and that's okay. There needs to be more of that, more communication, more talk, and less just immediately going to some very dire reaction to stuff,
Right.
like, like taking it way out of context or way to like from 0 to 100 instead of like, okay, let's talk about this. Let's figure it out. Let's see why we don't agree. Let's see if we can learn something from each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I concur. So and we'll just concur for H Train.
Yes, I think he would agree as well. Yes.
Yeah, I do too. So we're just going to all concur that is the truth as we know it today.
Right.
Try to put our egos down, try to put our tempers in order, and try to find out why things do trigger you. Don't just say because isn't an answer. And I go, maybe we can find harmony within. That's how I see it.
Well, it's funny, that song we played, Love and Understanding, that song is from 2014. So it's 11 years old, but it is still so very relevant to today's times, so,
Dude.
Back when it was written, there must've been something go on in 2014. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's still relevant and still, really on point for today's world, for today's climate, for today, what's going on in the world today, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But it's funny because here we go, numbers. 11 years ago. So she said the number 14 and then she said 11. Numbers. Look it up. 1411. Why is that such an important time? So I'll look that up, but not in front of here of everybody, because it's time to go. We actually have another show coming right after us. And I always tend to be mouthy and long. So I don't want to miss my beat.
Right. We want to make sure he gets on time.
Yes. So I appreciate, and I want everybody to appreciate, validate, and love, and say you're sorry, and say you're welcome, say thank you, right? These are just common morals to stay with, to cause us to live in a beautiful balance and alignment with one another.
Sounds good to me. I agree wholeheartedly.
Now, I won't be with you guys next weekend or next Monday. Yes, I will. Change my mind. I believe I will. I will be here next Monday. Yes, unless I I'm picking up my daughter. I'm so excited. I'm picking my daughter up because we have a big wedding family thing going on, but I will be here.
That's exciting.
So I think it's the following Monday I won't be here. Anyway.
Okay.
Ciao, everybody. Terri, I love you. And may everybody's soul be so at peace that you love yourself and love to the high heavens. And next week, we'll see you again right here on Behind the Headlines.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.